Listen, I don't even know if I should be recording this. My hands, they won't stop shaking. I'm literally sitting on the cold tile of my laundry room floor right now because it's the only door in this house with a real deadbolt. I'm staring at the lint trap and praying Julian doesn't hear me breathing through the vents. I just found it. I found the ledger.
Julian, that's my husband, or, well, the man I thought I've been married to for 7 years. He's been telling me for 6 months that we're underwater. Literally drowning. Maya, baby, we can't afford the organic milk for Leo, he'd say. Maya, the mortgage is past due. We have to skip your sister's wedding in Atlanta. I believed him. I felt so much guilt, y'all. I've been out here working double shifts at the hospital until my ankles are swollen, wearing shoes with holes in the soles just to keep us in this suburban Chicago zip code. But I just opened his work laptop. He forgot to clear the cache. There's a monthly payment, $5,000 every single month to someone named The Guardian. And listen, we don't have a security company. We don't have a bodyguard. We don't even have a Ring camera that works half the time because he says the subscription is too expensive. But my 3-year-old, Leo, he told me something today that made my blood turn to ice. I was sitting on the floor doing his hair, just parting his curls, and he leaned back and whispered, "Mommy, the lady in the walls says you're leaving soon. She says she's the new mommy." Wait, before I tell you what I found in the floor vent, I need to know, where are y'all joining me from? I feel like I'm losing my mind in this big, empty house. Drop your city in the comments. I just need to feel a human connection right now. Are you in Philly, ATL, Houston? Talk to me. I thought I was a wife, a partner, a woman building a Black legacy. I didn't realize I was just a placeholder in my own home while he was funding my replacement with my own hard-earned overtime money. It wasn't always like this. 3 years ago, we were that couple. We were the ones everyone at the cookout looked at and said, "That's goals." Julian was the rising star at his firm. I was a head nurse. We had the Black excellence vibe going strong. Then the accidents started. First, it was my car. The brakes just went. Soft. "It's an old car, Maya," Julian said. He looked so concerned, y'all. He held my face in his hands, looked me dead in the eye, and whispered, "I can't lose you. You're my ribs." I felt so loved. I felt protected. I didn't realize he was just checking the oil on a trap. Then the bank accounts started looking thin. Julian said he made a bad investment in a tech startup. He cried. Actual tears on my shoulder. He told me we had to cut back on everything. He even made me fire our regular sitter, Mrs. Gable. You know Mrs. Gable, the kind of woman who brings over pound cake and treats your child like her own grandson. "We'll use this new service," he said. "It's a specialized agency, digital vetting only. It's for high-profile families." That's when Sarah showed up. She was 22, lighter skin, attractive and smart. I don't know, tiny sundresses that felt disrespectful for a Chicago winter. "Hi, I'm Sarah," she said. She didn't even look at me. She was looking at Julian's watch. "Is the baby ready?" she asked. I should have known then. The way Julian's posture changed, he stood up straighter. He tucked his shirt in. Listen, a wife knows. You know when the air in the room shifts from family to flirtation. I asked him that night, "Julian, why does the babysitter have a key to the basement, but I don't?" He laughed. He actually laughed in my face like I was a child. "Maya, you're overworked. Your shifts at the hospital are making you paranoid. Go to sleep, baby. I got this." Okay, I'm back. I had to stop because I heard the garage door. Julian's home. I can hear him downstairs in the kitchen. Whistling. Like he didn't just ruin our entire lives. So, listen, I need to tell you about the vent. This morning, Leo was playing with his toy trucks. One of them rolled into the floor vent in the nursery. I went to get it, right? Normal mom stuff. But when I pulled the metal grate up, it didn't just pop off. It was hinged. Somebody had professionally installed hinges on a floor vent. And inside It wasn't just dust and lost toys. There was a recording device, a tiny black box with a blinking green light. But that's not even the part that made me want to scream. Behind the device, tucked into the ductwork, was a plastic envelope. I pulled it out, my heart just thumping against my ribs like a trapped bird. Inside were 3 different passports, all with Julian's face, but the names, they were all different. Mark Stevens, David Thorne, Thomas Miller. And then I saw it. A 4th passport. It was Sarah's, our cheap babysitter. But in the passport, her name was listed as Sarah Thorne. She's not a babysitter. She's his wife. I mean, imagine that for a second. Just sit with that. Finding out the woman you've been paying to watch your child, the woman who's been eating your food and sitting on your sofa, is actually married to your husband. I felt like the floor was turning into water. I wanted to vomit. I checked the ledger again on my phone. $5,000 a month to the guardian. It wasn't for protection. It was her salary for playing the part of the help while they waited for me to, what, disappear? I'm looking at the vents in the laundry room now. Are they everywhere? Is he listening to me right now? Wait, Julian just called my name from the bottom of the stairs. He sounds too nice. I have to hide the phone. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to try to get him to talk. If I don't come back in 10 minutes, somebody call the 1st precinct.
He's right outside the door. I've got the phone tucked into the waistband of my scrubs, recording the audio. Just listen to how this man speaks to me after 7 years. Maya, honey, why's the laundry room door locked? I took a deep breath. I rubbed my face to make sure I didn't look like I'd been crying. Just doing a heavy load, Julian. The vibration makes it pop open. I opened the door. He was standing there, holding a single yellow rose. It looked like a drop of blood against his white shirt. I felt bad about earlier, he said. He reached out to touch my hair, my natural hair that I had just spent 2 hours twisting, and I swear I had to fight the urge to bite his hand. I know things have been tight, but I have a surprise, a way out of all our debt. Oh, yeah? I asked. I mean, I'm not an actress, I'm a nurse, but I was doing my best. What kind of way out, Julian? An insurance settlement, he whispered. He leaned in close, smelling like expensive cologne and lies. My firm, they had a policy on key spouses. If something happens to you, even a minor accident, we'd be set for life. Millions, Maya. We could move back to the city, get Leo into that private school you like. He said it so casually, like he was talking about the weather or what we were having for dinner. An accident? I felt my voice crack. Julian, what are you saying to me? Nothing. God, you're so sensitive, he snapped. The mask slipped for just a second. His eyes went totally black. I'm trying to save our family. Sarah thinks it's a good idea too. She's worried about your health, you know. She says you look exhausted. Sarah's worried? How nice of the help to care about the mistress of the house. He didn't like that. He gripped my arm hard. She's more than help, Maya. She's the only one who actually appreciates what I do for this family lately. Listen, if y'all have ever felt that cold chill when someone looks at you, that was it. He wasn't looking at his wife. He was looking at an insurance claim. I need to get Leo. I need to get out. But Sarah is in the nursery, and the front door is deadbolted from the outside. He changed the locks while I was doing laundry. I found the poison. It wasn't even hidden. It was sitting there, right there in my favorite world's best mom mug. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's back up. I'm standing in the laundry room, Julian is gripping my arm, and the house feels like a tomb. I finally wrenched my arm away and walked into the kitchen. I had to see her. I had to see the woman who was helping my husband plot my accident. Sarah was there. She was wearing my apron that my mother gave me. She was humming a song, a gospel song, y'all. The nerve! Tea is ready, Maya, she said. Her voice was like syrup, thick and fake.
I looked at the mug, then I looked at the floor vent in the corner of the kitchen. My mind flashed back to the passports. Sarah Thorne. You know, Sarah, I said, sitting down at the table, I've been thinking about Gary, Indiana. Julian says he has a project out there. The humming stopped. The kitchen went so quiet I could hear the refrigerator humming. Why would you mention Gary? Julian asked, stepping in behind me. His hands were on my shoulders. His fingers felt like snakes. Oh, just thinking about where your family is from, I lied. Since you don't seem to have any brothers or sisters, I figured you must have someone out there. Listen, if you've ever seen someone's soul leave their body through their eyes, that was it. Julian's face went gray. I don't have family in Indiana, Julian said, his voice trembling. Then who is the woman on your second passport? I asked. I pushed the tea mug toward the center of the table. And why are you paying her $5,000 a month to play house in my nursery while I'm out here bleeding for this family? The sitter didn't even blink. She just reached over and turned off the stove. Julian, she said, I told you she was smarter than she looked. Listen. The kitchen went so quiet, you could hear the ice maker dropping in the freezer. It was that kind of quiet where you know your life has just split into before and after. Sarah didn't move, she didn't flinch. She just stood there in my apron, my mother's apron, and looked at Julian. And Julian, that man I've shared a bed with for 7 years, he looked like a little boy who just got caught with his hand in the jar. His face was gray, y'all, not even brown anymore, just ashy. Maya, let's be reasonable, he said. His voice was shaking, but he was trying to play that cool, calm, professional role he loves so much. You're tired, you're stressed from those 12-hour shifts at the hospital, you're imagining things. Am I imagining Sarah Thorne? I asked. I stood up, and I didn't care that he was bigger than me. Am I imagining the $5,000 a month you've been paying to The Guardian? Am I imagining the fact that my son, my 3-year-old baby, is telling me the lady in the vent says I'm going to sleep for a long time? Sarah finally spoke, and her voice, it wasn't that sweet yes ma'am babysitter voice anymore. It was deep, professional, cold. Julian, I told you the vent in the nursery was a mistake, she said. She reached out and actually touched his arm right in front of me. She's a nurse. They're trained to notice things. You should have stuck to the original plan. I felt the room spin. Original plan? I looked at the two of them. What plan? To kill me for the insurance money? To replace me with this girl who isn't even old enough to know how to fry chicken properly? Sarah laughed. It was a dry, nasty sound. Maya, honey, it's not about replacement. It's about liquidation. Julian lost everything in Gary. The firm is coming for him. The only thing he has left with any value is your life. Listen, I want to ask y'all something. Have you ever realized that the person you're sleeping next to is actually a predator? If you've ever had a gut feeling that turned out to be a warning from God, drop a hands raised emoji in the comments. I need to know I'm not the only one who missed the signs because I was too busy being a strong Black woman. Julian finally stood up. He didn't look scared anymore. He looked mean. The front door is deadbolted, the back door is reinforced, and Leo is upstairs sleeping. You can make this hard or you can make this easy. Drink the tea, go to sleep. We'll tell the police you had a heart attack from the stress of work, a tragic loss for the community. I looked at that tea mug. Then I looked at Sarah, then I looked at Julian, and I started to laugh. I mean, I really laughed. The kind of laugh that comes from your belly when you realize the person trying to play you is actually the one getting played. What's so funny? Julian snapped. He reached for my arm, but I stepped back. You think I'm just a nurse, Julian? I said. "You think all I do is change bandages and check blood pressure? I work in the ICU. I see people try to cheat death every single day. I know what a predator looks like before he even opens his mouth." "Listen," I said, holding the phone up so they could see the screen. "I've been recording since I was in the laundry room, but 10 minutes ago, I hit the Go Live button on my community page. All 50,000 of my followers are watching you right now, Julian. They heard you talk about the insurance. They heard Sarah talk about the original plan. And guess what? My brother, you remember my brother, the one who's a sergeant in the 3rd District? He just dropped a comment saying he's 3 minutes away." Julian's face went from mean to terrified in half a second. He lunged for the phone, but I tripped him with the kitchen care. I've spent 10 years moving grown men twice his size onto gurneys. He didn't stand a chance. Sarah tried to bolt for the back door, but she forgot one thing. This is my house. I know which floorboards creak, I know which doors stick, and I knew that when she tried to unlock that deadbolt, it would catch. "Where you going, Sarah? You don't want to stay for the tea?" "You're bluffing," Julian hissed from the floor, clutching his leg. "You wouldn't put our business out there like that. The scandal, your job." "My job is to save lives, Julian. And tonight, the life I'm saving is mine and Leo's. You thought because I was quiet, I was blind. You thought because I was working myself to the bone for this family, I wasn't watching the bank accounts. I've been moving money into a private account for 3 months, Julian. Why do you think the mortgage didn't get paid? It wasn't because we were broke, it was because I was building my exit ramp."
The sirens started then. That low, lonely wail that usually means I'm about to have a long night in the ER. But tonight, it sounded like a choir of angels coming down 79th Street. Julian just sat there on the linoleum. He didn't even try to get up. He looked at me, and for a second, just a second, I saw the man I fell in love with at Howard. I saw the man who promised my father he'd protect me. "Maya," he whispered, "I did it for us. I just wanted to get us back to where we were. I couldn't let you see me fail." Fail? I walked over to him, and I didn't feel fear anymore. I just felt a deep, heavy sadness. "Julian, you didn't fail because the money went away. You failed the second you brought a fixer in the room where our son sleeps. You failed the second you decided my life was worth more as a check than as a person." "She's better than you," he spat. The mask was gone for good now. "She doesn't judge me. She doesn't come home smelling like bleach and death. She actually listens." "She's a criminal, Julian," I said. I looked at Sarah, who was leaning against the door, defeated. "She's been using you just like you were using me. You think that $5,000 was going into an investment? I checked the routing number. It's an offshore account in the Caymans. She was draining you dry while you were trying to drain me." The look on Sarah's face told me I hit the bullseye. She wasn't his partner. She was his parasite. "Julian," she said, her voice small, "I can explain that." "Explain it to the feds," I said. The front door didn't just open, it exploded. My brother, Marcus, led the way, and I've never been so happy to see a tactical vest in my life. He didn't even look at Julian. He just came straight to me and wrapped me in his arms. "I got you, sis. I got the baby." "He's upstairs," I sobbed into his chest. "He's safe. He's safe." The sun came up over Chicago like it didn't even care that my world had ended. I was sitting on the back porch, wrapped in a blanket, watching the forensics team go in and out of the house. They found the cameras, not just in the nursery, y'all. They were in the bedroom, the bathroom, everywhere. Julian hadn't just been planning an accident, he'd been recording my every move to make sure he could prove I was unstable if the insurance company asked questions.
Detective Miller, a tall black man with gray hair and eyes that had seen too much, sat down next to me. He handed me a lukewarm coffee. "You did good, Maya," he said. "Most people in your position, they freeze or they try to handle it themselves. That live stream, that saved your life, and it's going to make sure Julian Vance never sees the sun from the outside of a fence for a long, long time." "What was in the tea?" I asked. Miller sighed. "A heavy dose of digitalis. As a nurse, you know what that does. It would have looked like a heart attack, perfect for a woman under high stress at a hospital." I looked at my hands. They were still stained with the ink from the police forms. I realized I'd never have to work another double shift for Julian again. I'd never have to hear him tell me we were broke while he was wearing a $3,000 suit. "And the girl?" I asked. "Sarah Forn, or whatever her name is today, she's a pro. She targets high-earning black professionals who are in over their heads. She plays the sitter or the cousin until the wife is out of the picture. You're the first one to catch her in the act." I looked up at Leo's window. He was awake now, watching the police cars with big, curious eyes. He didn't know his father was a monster. He just knew the flashing lights were pretty, and it was my job to make sure he never felt the shadow of that lady in the vent ever again. So, here I am. It's been 3 months. I moved out of that house. I didn't want the memories, and I definitely didn't want the vents. I'm in a condo now, overlooking the lake. It's smaller, but the air is clean here, y'all. Julian is awaiting trial. He tried to claim temporary insanity, but my followers, they've been sending the clips of that live stream to the DA every single day. The community didn't let him hide. Sarah, she took a plea deal. She's testifying against him. Turns out, there's no honor among thieves, or wives who are actually fixers. Listen, I'm looking at the comments right now. Tasha from Brooklyn says, "Maya, you are a queen for holding it together." And Derek from Memphis is asking how Leo is doing. Leo is thriving. He's in a new school. He's got a real babysitter now, my cousin Tanya, who wouldn't know a spy camera if it hit her in the face, but knows exactly how many chicken nuggets a 3-year-old can eat. Visual cue, Maya standing on a balcony, the Chicago skyline behind her, her hair in a beautiful braided crown, holding a mug that says "New Beginnings." I want to thank y'all. Seriously, if I hadn't seen those comments rolling in while I was standing in that kitchen, I don't know if I would have had the strength to keep talking. You were my witnesses when I was all alone. Now, I have to ask you, if you found a camera in your house today, who is the first person you'd call? And have you ever had a Sarah try to slide into your family under the guise of helping? Tell me your stories in the comments. I'm reading them all tonight, and we're going to talk about it in the next live. If you felt this story, if you're proud of a sister for standing her ground, hit that like button. Share this with a friend who needs to remember that her intuition is a gift from God. And subscribe to join our family. We don't just tell stories here, we build a fortress. I'm Maya, and for the first time in my life, I know exactly who I am. I'll see y'all in the next one. Stay vigilant, stay blessed, and check your vents.